Today we're gonna make a tasty lemon bundt cake with the glaze on top and everything. It's gonna be so good. And I don't want to hear about not having fresh lemons, because, in this environment, I'm lucky to get what I get. So I'm using organic lemon juice today for this. First, we have to make our own buttermilk, because I don't have that either. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So I got the menagerie here that wants to help me. Little goofballs. Anyway, so I've got a cup of milk in here and a tablespoon of lemon juice, and we're going to let that percolate for about 10 or 15 minutes, and it's going to make our own buttermilk. How about that? So now in here, I have a cup and a half of cane sugar and a cup of coconut oil, which is at room temperature, which is more like a shortening. And we're gonna fluff that up all creamy like. Okay, so here I have 3 cups of flour, a half teaspoon of my Himalayan sea salt, and a half teaspoon of baking soda, not baking powder, 3 eggs, and then I have the buttermilk I made earlier and put in a couple generous tablespoons of lemon juice that I added to that. Okay, so we're gonna start mixing this together. First, I'll add the eggs kind of one at a time, even though I whipped them up already, because I want to make sure they're good and mixed, and break up that egg white, because that's important. So now I'm going to take about half of this flour mixture and about half of the buttermilk mixture, put it in there, and then I'll finish with the other part of flour and the rest of the buttermilk with the lemon juice. This is going to be so good and so lemony and so sweet. One thing you need to know, turn the mixer down to low when you add the flour, otherwise you're going to be covered in flour. Okay, so that's the first half of flour and then the buttermilk mixture. Now I'm going to put the second half in. Okay, so the great thing about this KitchenAid is the newer ones, like we have on our site at foodnationradio.com, they have the glass bowl like this, so it's easy to pour it into the pan. Because I have my prepared pan over here that I sprayed with cooking spray, and it's a ceramic non-stick pan anyway. And this is going to bake at 350 for at least 30 minutes. We're gonna check it and make sure a toothpick comes out clean. Okay, so I got that all poured in there. I used my KitchenAid color coordinated spatulas. You can get those on the site too at Food Nation Radio. And also they have the new color that's out this year. Wait till you see this color. I'm really curious what you think of it. Completely different from what I expected. So anyway, I kind of spread this out in the pan. I'm gonna stick this in the oven, and hopefully it's gonna come out all nice and golden brown and yummy. I'm just looking at the thickness of this batter. I think it's gonna have to go for close to 60 minutes. We'll see. Isn't that pretty? That went about 55 minutes at 350. I wanted it to have a nice, golden brown look to it. And now, I'm going to soak the cake with about 1/3 of a cup of cane sugar, 1/3 of a cup of water, and a couple of splashes, probably a couple tablespoons of the lemon juice. So I'm going to let this dissolve, then I'm going to brush it over the cake after I take it out onto a rack. So with this kind of cake, the best way to do this is put the rack on the top and then flip it over, the whole thing. See how pretty? So here's my liquid. I'm gonna brush right over that cake while it's still warm. Okay, this cake is literally saturated with that lemon sugary liquid stuff. And by the way, you might want to put paper towels underneath because it was starting to get a little messy, and I forgot to tell you that. So that's why you gotta watch this all the way through to see what happens at the end and how pretty it looks. Okay, it's the moment of the truths. We're gonna put the glaze over the top of this. And that was a cup of confectioner's sugar and a couple of tablespoons of lemon juice. That looks like all kinds of yummy. Thanks for watching. Go to foodnationradio.com for the recipe.